Alright, welcome to Epistemic Violence, Episode 4. We're the internet's top Hans Hoppe fan club, so to speak. We're a podcast covering current events, tech, and more with a libertarian take on things. I'm your host, Satan, and with me tonight are...
Quentin. We said it at the same time.
You unprofessional retard.
We both owe each other a soda now.
Alphabetic order. Except for me, because I'm the host.
So then I was correct, actually.
Yeah.
We're doing alphabetic order now.
Whatever. It don't matter.
None of this matters.
I'll just, wham jangle your different shit apart or something.
No, leave it
I
in.
don't know.
Leave it in.
Alright, fuck it.
Let them
Alright.
hear our mistakes. We're mere
Okay.
men.
Let's start off with a pretty cack-worthy topic. In politics, let's talk about "He Will Not Divide Us." Would
Yet again.
anyone like the honors of the quick rundown?
Take it away.
All right. So, backstory for people who don't know about "He Will Not Divide Us." Shia LaBeouf started a thing in New York at some kind of film museum, and his plan was to live stream every day for 4 years for Trump's presidency. To protest him, and he had this slogan, "He will not divide us," and they would just chant it over and over again, and it was really weird and creepy. And then the internet showed up, and there were some fights, some arrests,
Some great memes.
some amazing memes, some dank as fuck memes, and then ironically, the museum put up a wall so that only a certain number of people could get into the exhibit at any given time. And then shortly after, it was shut down. I don't remember the exact reason the museum gave, but museum said fuck off.
I think they got tired of just like a low-scale riot happening outside of their I think the NYPD might have something
Low
to do with it
energy.
too.
The sous vide of riots.
Low
Anyways,
energy supreme.
Oh. So then, I think it was a few weeks go by, and
Yeah.
he starts it back up, but in Albuquerque, New Mexico this time. And I don't think it was as cack-worthy. And then that ended when there's about a block away. There's a shooting, unrelated to the stream and project, but they shut it down out of safety concerns.
Related to Trump though.
Huh? Oh, just Mexicans?
They have to go back.
Oh, okay. I mean, it is Albuquerque, and it did look like a pretty shitty part of Albuquerque, so the odds are not unreasonable there. And so, a couple weeks more go by, and he announces that He Will Not Divide Us Season 3 is going up, and there's a live stream from an undisclosed location with a camera pointing towards the sky and a flagpole and a flag waving in the wind that has "He Will Not Divide Us" stitched into it. And this is where the autism kicked in. So people started noticing airplanes going by. Oh, and I should mention, Shia LaBeouf was spotted... Excuse me. Shia LaBeouf was spotted in a smallish town somewhere...
Tennessee.
In Tennessee. Shortly, it was within a pretty close time frame of when the stream went live of the flag. So they knew it had to be roughly in, the East Coast, or Tennessee. So then they started analyzing flight plans in Tennessee. They would notice a plane goes by, they would cross-reference it with the FAA flight plans, and they would eventually manage to triangulate a general location of where the flag is. Excuse me. So then, they get people out on the ground, driving around in cars, and they're honking because the stream is transmitting audio instead of just video. And so they, hot potato, cold potato, that shit in. And
Use echolocation.
yeah. So they hone in on where the flag is, and then they find it. And then I think it was that night when the sun went down, one of the 4chan people went out, crossed into the property, lowered the flag, raised up I think it was like a Pepe shirt and a "Make America Great Again" hat. And yeah. It's fantastic. Lots of salt. Shia is a broken and desperate man now.
And I saw in a Facebook group after that someone had a drone that was flying over the area And
Oh
there was
yeah,
someone with a baseball bat near the flag.
yeah. I think
And
there's
I'm pretty sure
speculation
this is
that it was
legit.
Shia. Yeah.
Well, I think it's legit because this guy I saw, and he posted earlier that he was going to like drop off a like something on the flagpole or something. So
That's
yeah,
false.
he could have been waiting there with the baseball bat, which would have been pretty great. That was a amazing saga. I hope season 4 comes out. More lulls are to be had.
Season 4, they do the same thing with the triangulation, but this time it's in Syria. They have to fight their way through ISIS to get to the flag.
Oh, well, dude, that's like the time that Syria General coordinated an airstrike in Syria, right?
Yes, that was some good stuff. I don't have the exact stuff on there, but they did some similar stuff. They analyzed like power pylons in order to in reference to where they were in the video, and did some crazy math. And they
first,
yeah,
like a guy came on that was fighting in the Syrian resistance, I think, and was saying like, "Hey, we found some terrorist training camps. Can you help us find where they are?" It was like this dude is pretty prominent on Twitter in the Syrian conflict that fights for them, and he posted that, and that's when they used this triangulation to find where the camps were.
I thought there were no camps.
I'm pretty sure they were like terrorist training camps because that's when they like.
Yeah.
They called in an airstrike like shortly after, and it was where I think it was like Syria General on Pole or 8 Pole that
I'm
ended
pretty
up.
sure it was 4-pole. I saw the screenshots. They had the 4chan URL that they sent to Ivan.
So yeah, they ended up bombing some terrorists.
That. Mm-hmm. All right, that's the He Will Not Divide Us Syrian Civil War wrapped up. I want to move into the anti-Trump NYCGOP.
Yeah,
BIGGIE.
New York City's Metropolitan Republican Club purged a bunch of Trump supporters from its board, and they donated to Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer, allegedly. This is from Got News. They did the thing on like Antifa doing like giving terroristic threats during the deplorable. They've broken some pretty decent stuff. So but yeah, it's hilarious. Like they're kicking all these Trump supporters out, and it is really a schism among the old and new right. And I've said on here before, I think it's good. It gives the right someone to fight against while they don't have to fight against liberals. Because yeah, these neocons and conservatives, they have to go. I would prefer someone that's more of a centrist liberal than a conservative or neocon. It's just like these are people that are supporting them and they're kicking them out. And I think it's just such a telling. It's such like a microcosm of what's going on the right now, where you have the old guard and the new guard that are just so opposed. Like they might as well just be as opposed as the Republicans and Democrats. Like they hate each other just as much.
It seems like there's not really even any philosophical or major philosophical disagreements between like the old Republicans and the new Republicans that like Trump. It's just it appears to be that it's purely just an issue of the old GOP losing control of their party and not wanting to lose power. Well, that's just my impression.
That's part of it, but also the kind of war hawkishness of the old GOP isn't wanted anymore. Like Trump's whole America First thing is pretty prominent, and the same thing's happening here in Canada, where the new right is kind of saying like, yeah, we don't want to be involved in all this like foreign intervention that has nothing to do with Canada because we're a nothing country. Like we don't need to be spending all this money on the military. It would be better for us just to give our money to the US or something. Have them conduct military operations. Like it's just stupid how much money we spend on it for just, like being Canada.
Just become like the maple syrup Puerto Rico.
Yeah. It just
you have a massive debt crisis.
But yeah, this Republican Party also tried to run like a strong female candidate and campaigned on getting the women's vote, and it's these tactics don't work. These people are never going to vote for you. It's just, I noticed that with a lot of libertarians too. They still think the angle of going after like, we're progressive, we're we're gonna have like the most underprivileged person we can find, we're going to run them and that'll make people like us. It's like they will never vote for you. The people that like that kind of shit will never even consider voting for you. Just stop. It's pointless. It's really.
Yeah, the whole oppression Olympics thing with the left, anyways, they don't actually believe that. Is more of just a fashion statement for them. Because
Yeah.
if you get, a black guy or a woman or a Muslim who disagrees with them, they just instantly turn into the fucking, they treat them like they're just white men, how they normally treat white men.
Anyone that's on the right has to lose that mentality. It's not gotten the right anywhere. Even if you're a centrist and you still think that, just stop, please. That's all I really got to say about that.
Yeah. Anyone else got further comments?
Not really. I mean, summed it up pretty succinctly.
All right then, let's talk about this Turkey Netherlands thing that's going down. Who would like to take the quick rundown?
I guess I can spearhead this one.
Okay.
So, from what I understand, this has only been happening over the last 36 or so hours.
Yeah.
Maybe since Friday, so 48 technically. But at any rate, it would appear that at some point or another, the foreign minister to Turkey was denied landing privileges in the Netherlands, which may not be the same exact act as denying it to their head of state, Erdogan, but it's pretty up there in terms of backhandedness towards a diplomatic envoy. That being said, though, this is especially crazy happening because it's the Netherlands. It's one of the most liberal and avowedly liberal places in all of Europe, like even more so than Belgium. And they're, with the whole Wilders thing going on, especially, it's just showing that something very, very different is happening there in the last, probably year and a half or so since the whole Trump thing and Brexit thing got underway. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. I mean, it seems like they're getting some sanctions or something, or some pushback from Turkey. Like, a lot of people in Turkey are really pissed off by it, but
another thing too is that
this is happening very fast.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Pierre.
Turkey was threatening to stop stopping migrants that are passing through Turkey and let them into Europe. So before they were making at least an attempt to not let these Syrians and whatever get into Europe, but they're going to say that, we're just, we're not going to care anymore. Like, they're using this as a tactic against the EU, where the EU is like, no, this is great. There's nothing wrong with this. And yet Turkey is using it as a negative attack.
Yeah. And so I think the riots that are happening in Rotterdam specifically there is a Turkish foreign minister who was, I believe, detained and moved to the Dutch-German border because she was going to stage some kind of a pro Erdogan rally outside of the embassy or something, and the Dutch police just didn't want chaos to break out in the streets, so got detained, sent to the German-Dutch border, and got very upset. From this Russia Today article that I've got up, one of her tweets reads, "In the face of this fascist practice, the world needs to take a stand in the name of democracy. Such treatment of a woman is unacceptable."
Says someone from Turkey.
We all know the fascistic totalitarian hellhole of the Netherlands. It's just, super.
They're calling the Netherlands like the remnants of Nazis. Yeah, I'm like, when I really think of really borderline fascist places, I think of the Netherlands. Yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
Having been there myself, yeah.
In Turkey too. You want to talk about the mistreatment of women?
You want to talk about the suppression of free press, i.e., a Nazi-like thing?
Yeah, or there was a guy this summer, during Ramadan, where people were going through the streets and finding people in bars and beating the shit out of them. Yeah. It's just
that one record store, yeah.
And then they're gonna talk shit about the Netherlands. It blows my mind. They just had a coup in their country. They can't even get their
the
political
military
shit
almost
together.
took over.
Yeah. And then they're trying to conduct their own politics in a European country, in a foreign country. They're trying to
And they're sparring with Russia, mind you. Don't forget about that.
Yeah.
Take the piss, inciting a riot in the Netherlands, complains about getting detained. Not even arrested, just moved politely.
Yeah, I won't lie. The Netherlands is great. I would love to live there if it wasn't as expensive and whatnot.
A little bit too liberal for me, but it's
sure. No, that's what I'm also kind of beating around the bush for. But yeah,
it wouldn't be that bad.
Guns.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that especially.
No
too,
gats. Other than that, yeah, I'd be all right. I wouldn't want to bike everywhere though. That sucks.
Get a gyrocopter.
Yeah.
Fly everywhere.
You can't throw communists out of one of those.
You could become a communist and then jump off it.
Oh, dude, that's a genius idea. But yeah, it'll
And
be
hear
interesting
how
to
it
see
goes.
what comes from this.
All right. So let's move into the 46 executive orders. Blah blah blah. I kind of jumped around. I went mildly dyslexic there. The Trump and firing the prosecutors.
I think the number is actually greater than 46 now, but it's funny the media freak out over this. I saw, of course, Will Wheaton saying that some of these prosecutors were ones that were on corruption cases and Trump fired them. Really makes you think. It's like, yeah, I bet they were on a lot of cases. Like it's like 50 federal prosecutors. What do you think they prosecute? You could say that, they're on like fraud and murder cases and Trump fired them. Wow, what a crazy coincidence. Maybe Trump's a murderer. And ever since Clinton, were you saying that like the Clintons started this? Was that you saying that?
No, that wasn't me, but I mean, this is to be expected, seeing as how they're former, like, previous government employees, government appointees at that. So
Either way, it's completely illegal. And
it's completely what you would expect to get rid of the appointees of the previous administration. I mean, that happens with almost every single turnover.
see, I think Obama fired more.
People are making a big deal about Preet Bharara specifically being fired, and I think that's mostly coming from the fact that he was kind of given, reportedly was given kind of assurances that he would stay on when he met with Trump at Trump Tower during the transition. Sorry, I need some water. But at any rate, he he was an extremely aggressive federal prosecutor. I think personally he pursued a lot of things that were probably pretty good. But he was also pretty close with, if it wasn't Chuck Schumer, it was maybe Al Franken. I can't remember. It's one of the most ranking Democrats, that are going to be in opposition to Trump for at least the next 4 years. That's my suspicion was the key factor when it came to firing him, in addition to the other like 40-some others that are also getting the boot.
I'm reading through a Wikipedia article right here that says that it's customary for them to hand in letters of resignation.
Right.
When a president's from a different political party, almost all of the resignations will eventually be accepted. And not only this, but this is like Trump said he's going to drain the swamp. So not only did he already allude to doing stuff like this, other presidents in the past, I think here it says George W. Bush also did this. So it's not exactly a crazy thing for someone to do, but the amount of people freaking out over it is hilarious. And I just thought it was funny that, that like these prosecutors were looking into corruption. That's why Trump fired them. These narratives are so
literally
concocted.
Every case of corruption has to do with Trump.
Oh well, he's accepting money from Russia, and he has Russian prostitutes like take pisses on him.
Who would?
Yeah. Now that I don't know if that meme is still is it still a thing? Do people still believe that?
I don't think so. I don't ever hear it.
Like for a while there, they're like, "Oh, Trump's going to be impeached immediately because of this," and then nothing ever came of it. If you notice, almost every recent article I've read about Trump always references anonymous sources. It doesn't give the original source that like the exact information they were given. They just give their interpretation of it. It's so dishonest.
Also, like, was Obama the worst president? Probably not, at least in my opinion. But I mean, I think he was awful when it came to transparency with the media. So it's like the whole I think Trump's been handling messaging poorly, but let's not act as if he's been like hiding things per se.
Yeah, well, he doesn't do it with the media. He does it on Twitter.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, he's doing something totally different than like what he's being charged of. And meanwhile, people are completely whitewashing the fact that Obama like didn't say anything to anyone ever about anything that was of any of substance about like various programs going on at the time, various initiatives, like especially during the first administration. Whew.
And if it was Bernie Sanders that was just communicating through Twitter, he'd be seen as a revolutionary. They'd be like, "Oh wow, this is he's really communicating with the people and not going through the press. This is such a great thing." So progressive, and then Trump doesn't. It's like he's just trying to hide from the media. It's like there is a long string of evidence of the media twisting what Trump says into something completely different and lying about him and making up stories and just always portraying him in a negative light. Not every media source, but most of them. And then you wonder why he doesn't want to talk to them. Like, all through his campaign, he battled with them. Why do you think now that he's president, he's just going to bend the knee to a bunch of corporatists? Like, that's another thing that blows my mind. These are multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar international corporations that just happen to have a media company. Like, most of these media companies are owned by other companies. So,
I think it's like every American, or almost every 90% of the media in America is owned by 6 companies.
yeah, and they think he has some kind of duty to let these companies into, like, press briefings and shit. Like, why? Why would you even want that?
Yeah. Get fucking, I don't know, some couple random jack-off YouTubers who aren't totally full of shit.
Well, that's even what Six Hexenhammer said, was that he would rather not even see people like Breitbart in there and just have, like, random commentators being there. And I agree. I would trust them more than I would trust any website that makes money off getting clicks.
Or just like live stream that shit to the internet.
Yeah. And Trump's been doing a great job of that. And I think it's going to be interesting moving forward in other presidencies across the world and seeing how much they communicate with things like Twitter and having fireside chats. And as much as I hate the left, I can put that aside and say that I hate the media more. And I want to watch them burn.
For sure.
All right. Well, I believe that finishes up politics. Anyone else has comments for that? Any stories you want to bring up?
I do want to talk real briefly about, everything going on in Korea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, how the fuck did I forget about that?
Just because of the massive protests that have followed. I mean, this has been just insane. For anyone who doesn't know, President Park Geun-hye, I believe is how you pronounce her, Geun-hye, she has been officially not only stripped of her power as president, but removed from office.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't physically left the Blue Palace, which is their equivalent of the White House, quite yet. But she is done. And she is the daughter of the longtime South Korean dictator from the Cold War, who was ultimately assassinated. But she is the first. She's the first female president in Korean history, but she's also, I believe, the first democratically elected figure to be removed from power, which is decently significant milestone to cross.
Wasn't she wrapped up in some crazy ass conspiracy theory with like these 8 matriarchal billionaire Koreans or something?
It wasn't so much conspiracy theory. She was wrapped up in a graft scandal involving someone who was like the daughter of someone who was rather like weird and cultish, but it also involved apparently Samsung and whatnot. So,
because I remember hearing about this when the story first broke, and it sounded like some kind of fucking anime premise.
I mean, it's been pretty wild. Don't get me wrong.
Sacrificing children to Moloch like Hillary Clinton.
Now, should we speculate whether that one BBC guy who was commenting on Korea and his kids came in the room, was he wearing pants? What do you think?
Ooh.
Because you would think, maybe he would pick his daughter up, put her in his lap, and just carry on. But if he wasn't wearing pants,
I don't think he was, because it's such a meme like that people don't wear pants in the news that whenever I've done like teleconferences in the past and stuff, I've never worn pants just because it's funny. So I could totally see him just being like, "Hey, I'm gonna be on BBC. I'm not gonna wear pants, and it'll be funny." But I doubt he's probably not as much of a goof off to do that. So I don't know. I'm saying no pants though.
I'm leaning pants, but he just freaked out and froze.
That chick that came drifting around the corner of the door was great though.
I'm waiting for the initial D remix of that kid.
Oh, it already happened.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it exists. It's just like Google BBC reporter kids. It should probably come up.
Alright, I'll fucking look that up. Alright, well that's, not a super in-depth take on that, but, we talked about it. So we got that under our belts.
That's good.
Yeah, keep your eye on the Korean Peninsula as well as other regions of the world.
Keep your eye on regions of the world.
North Korea and Best Korea.
All right. You guys want to move into tech?
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Alrighty. Who wants to? I know about this IoT teddy bear thing, but does anyone want to start it off? I didn't write these topics.
Yeah, sure. It was a teddy bear, like some toy manufacturer that had I don't think it had video, but it had audio. And it was connected. It was a Internet of Things device that you could log into, I think, a dashboard, but there was no password rules, so you could just have like a one-character password. And I believe they also didn't salt their passwords, so they used like a very secure hashing algorithm for it. But you could just like you know type in password, use the hashing algorithm on password, and then you cracked everyone's password that used that because there was no salt.
Explain salting.
I believe it's when you add a prefix or suffix to someone's password that's generated separately from the hash function. So if your password is Hunter2, it'll be like 456 Hunter2 when it's entered into their database. So even if someone
Okay, so we just got Pier's password.
yes. So yeah, it just like it's an additional security measure on it.
sense.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
They'd probably use like the current time on the system as like a seed value for that.
it's done server side, I believe.
Well, yeah, the current time value on the server.
Oh, maybe.
Just as like to start to seed like a hash or something. I don't know.
But it exposed the names, email addresses, passwords, and home addresses of almost 5 million adults, as well as the first names, genders, and birthdays of more than 200,000 kids.
How many gender options were there?
I'm not sure, but I hope there was 2.
Sounds
Attack
like
helicopter and Kalashnikin.
Eggplant.
Attack helicopter and tank. I'm not a tank. I'm an APC.
But just another example of how Internet of Things devices are just shit. Most things have shit security, so when you add a bunch of things with shit security into your house, it's no surprise that you know there's just more attack vectors for people to go after.
Disrupt your life, yeah.
That reminds me of the Alexa thing where this person was asking Alexa if Alexa was connected to the CIA, and Alexa would just not answer.
Yeah. And the Google response was like, I really don't know.
I saw an edit of that. I was like, why don't you go ask that dumb bitch Alexa?
Yeah, that was good.
Alright. Shall we, well, since we kind of got on the security bent, let's talk about SHA-1. R.I.P.
Rest in Pepperinos, SHA-1, which is the hashing function that most of the internet relies on. Would that be fair to say? Other than MD5?
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. But there's different SHA-based algorithms, right? Those are still, as far as we know, secure.
So what happened, or do you want to do the Satan? Or you probably know a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I know a little bit about this. So basically, the point of a hash is that it's a non-reversible. Like if you get the hashing algorithm and the hash value, there's no way that you can, in a timely manner, reverse engineer the original input. And so this can be used to, sign emails and code and all that. Basically an electronic signature that verifies that you are you.
One really great example is when you're downloading a Linux ISO, like for a Linux install. What you do is they provide the SHA-1 sum, and then when you download it, you run a SHA-1 sum on the file, and you compare the one they give you on the site, and you compare the one that they give you on your computer, and that means that it hasn't been tampered with.
Yeah.
Because everything that was in the file when they first did the hash function is also in the file when you did the hash function if they match. So it's very useful.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And so what a collision is with a very simple non-cryptographic hashing function, you could just you take some input value, you take the remainder, or you divide it by some number and take the remainder of that, which is called a modulo, at least computer science. I don't know if people call it that, but basically you find the remainder if you divide by a given value. So if you had like a 26 mod 5, you would get 1 as the remainder, I think. And so if you had two values that got the same remainder, that's what's called a collision. And so with hashing algorithms, the reason why that's important is that if you've got two different files that evaluate to the same, or two different files that evaluate to the same hash output, that means that it can be tampered with and that you're not 100% sure that it is this one exact file and nothing else.
So you could have like a Google SSL certificate and make it look like you're from Google, but it's not actually signed by like it's
yes,
not Google did not issue that certificate.
Hypothetically, yes. I don't know if that's practically possible, but in theory, with SHA-1, that is doable now.
Yeah. Also, Git uses it for data integrity. So,
and I think it took like 15 quintillion computations over the course of many years to actually produce this collision. And, people moving forward will use different hashing algorithms that are more secure. I mean, SHA-1's been around forever, so.
it's not a, what do they call it, cloud bleed. It's not like your passwords are being leaked en masse because SHA-1 has a collision. Like, it's a very specialized kind of theoretical attack for now. So
I can't imagine it being used in like a high volume for attacks. Like the average person probably won't even notice or be affected by it anyway.
But you want to use cryptographically secure methods. So just moving on, people aren't going to use SHA-1, which because it's so widely used is kind of interesting.
Yeah. All right. Let's move into the other two tech topics we had. I think probably Pierre, you had those.
Yeah. The first one was the this is kind of a discussion piece, which was the fallbacks of not disclosing 0 days in proprietary software. So when the CIA released that they had a database of 0-day attacks, which are like exploits that no one knows about. I shouldn't say attacks, 0-day exploits. So no one else knows about them. That's why it's the day that they're found, basically. But the CIA also uses the same tech that everyone else does. They still use Windows, they still use Linux, they still use whatever. But with proprietary software, if you are holding back a 0-day, you're also vulnerable to it because you can't just go in and patch it yourself with Windows. It's at least a lot harder. Is that true, Satan?
Sorry, I was not really paying attention.
Like, if you are running, if you're the CIA and you're running Windows 7 on all your computers, and then you find a security exploit for Windows 7, can you then patch it yourself? Or do you need to go through Microsoft to have it patched?
That, yeah, because Windows doesn't really give you as much control over your system as Linux does. So I feel like for security stuff, especially, they probably would have some kind of protections that wouldn't let you get access to that.
Yeah, well,
security range.
You probably need to edit the source code of the NT kernel, which isn't public. So, yeah, you wouldn't be able to fix most security vulnerabilities you have. So if you're holding on to all these 0 days, and the CIA even admitted that these hacking, like these tools that were using these exploits were available to other people, well, that means that the CIA is then vulnerable to the same attacks. Like, it's just it's just another problem with proprietary software is
also as other nation state actors and non-nation state actors investigate the source of these things that are now being used to execute on their systems, and they as a criminal element learn about these exploits. That's not far more dangerous, but that's equally a concerning factor about how they withheld these genuine security issues, and now it might actually injure everyday people, aside from those being targeted by CIA spying.
You'll never really know
because the CIA now has failed to report security flaws, and now criminal organizations can now utilize. Like, it's pretty plain as that.
And you'll never know if your Windows computer is getting patched for all these things. Like patch Tuesday.
Right.
Like, do they even have patch notes? I've never seen my Microsoft patch note list.
I'm not sure.
I
think
hope
the
they did.
security update happened today or this last Tuesday.
But like, yeah, you'll never know for sure. Whereas with if you can do a security audit of the code and eventually, if WikiLeaks makes these exploits available, you'll know whether or not your operating system is vulnerable to any of this.
Mhm.
So.
This reminds me of I had to do a project about Internet of Things, and I think one of my partners in the final essay wrote that in his section that open source is less secure. Yeah, I was like, no, bud.
Was it the whole like security through obscurity?
Yeah, basically.
Man.
Yeah, super basic bitch. I'm like, oh god, no, that's wrong. That's completely wrong.
It's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Although I did learn, this is a little bit unrelated, but I did learn of a great Linux attack that happened a couple years ago, which is apparently you could be at a login screen and press backspace 17 times and it would unlock the computer. And it affected almost every major Linux distro. I never heard of this until the other day.
What?
Yeah, I don't really know much about it. It was patched like immediately, but apparently existed since like Linus's first line of code. It's been there forever.
That's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw that in Brian Lunduke's Linux Sucks talk. made me kick. So the last topic that I added was the Winklevoss Bitcoin Trust, which was the Winklevoss twins, who are the twins that got cucked by Mark Zuckerberg for Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to buy up a bunch of Bitcoin and then have like offer a trust for the Bitcoin that they bought. So they'd issue shares for their share of Bitcoin. And they brought this to the SEC wanting to get it passed, and the SEC said no. So I don't know whether or not this is a good thing. It's bad for the price of Bitcoin because it just like went down a considerable amount. I don't really know.
It's back.
Oh, it's back up?
Yeah, it's back up. Like, it was down for like a day.
Okay. Which, when most, like,
Let me just check.
whenever something happens in China and miners are threatened or whatever, it usually goes down for a little bit and then comes right back up. So it's not a big surprise. But I don't know. This would have been good for Bitcoin. I don't know if it'd be a closer step to regulation of it, or if it would be maybe further legitimize its use. I don't know how to approach that. If I want to have a decentralized currency now, or I want to have a decentralized currency that's like actually anti-state and not tied in with the state at all.
Yeah. Basically, the most recent dip, it went from 1254 to about 1138, and now today it's back up to like 1236 ish.
That's not too bad.
So yeah, it had a little bit of a drop, and it's down a couple percent for this week.
But if anyone was wondering why Bitcoin dropped, that was because their appeal was denied by the SEC. Although there's other people that are trying to do the same thing. I think there's at least 2 other groups that want to do this, so that could still go through.
I regret not taking advantage of a temporary panic and making some cash.
Yeah, that happens every time on Bitcoin, though.
Oh yeah, well, I mean it sounds really tempting to me to start getting into like speculating Bitcoin, because I kind of historically have seen through a lot of like temporary panics, like with Volkswagen. Their stock dropped to an insanely low price, and I'm just holding on to it, waiting to pass that shit off and make a profit. Because getting in trouble for cheating on an emissions test isn't gonna kill like the 6th largest car manufacturer in the fucking world.
It's not like their products were exploding in people's pockets like Samsung.
Yeah, and Samsung's still around.
Yeah, I just don't know how to feel about things like Bitcoin trusts. It's kind of cool, I guess, but the last thing I want to see is more centralization in Bitcoin. That's
true. I mean, there's always going to be other cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin's just got a good following.
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin Unlimited is really taking off too recently, so
Never really seen much about that, but we should do we should do another thing on like SegWit for Bitcoin.
I have no
Oof,
idea what
yeah.
that is.
Well, I'll bog pill you on it, dude, some other time.
Oh yeah, you
And
give me
side
a quick
chains.
rundown.
It's just like instead of increasing the block size, it's another way for managing large volumes of Bitcoin transactions. So I believe it has to do with
You know what,
they
bud?
can,
I think you're gonna have to fucking manage your goddamn block size. You turned into a robot.
Yeah,
You're gonna
that was
have
really
to
wild.
repeat everything you just said.
Okay, am I good now? Okay, SegWit
Yeah.
stands for segregated witness, and I don't know if you remember the big debate of increasing BitChain block size, which would allow more transactions.
A little bit.
Yeah,
It's still going on.
but SegWit is the alternative, and it would allow for multiple streams of. I don't really know how to explain this because I'm not a huge expert on it, but it would basically allow for more transactions without having to increase the block size, which means that mining would stay just as centralized as it now. It would still be worth to run a full node. You wouldn't need, to have like some crazy bandwidth to accomplish it. Yeah, and there's a bunch of other cool features. If you ever see Belfry in here, he runs another podcast called the Crypto Economy Podcast. We talked about it for like a couple hours one night. It was pretty crazy. Because I thought that raising the block size was good for a while because it would allow for more transactions, but SegWit really seems to be the way forward in this. But yeah, we can go over that another time when everyone's
Maybe we should go crash this podcast sometime.
with no
Show
survivors.
up uninvited. Show up like Deljane last episode. All right, I think that covers tech and all that. Crinton, would you like to regale us with tales of shitty gun laws?
Yeah, I'll get into that. So, I'm pretty through with Maryland's gun laws. I mean, I've now found, a solution to what I was looking for, which was just a sturdy, reliable, affordable firearm of some kind, whether it be rifle or handgun. I went to a gun show in Pennsylvania to just see what was going on, not really looking to buy anything in particular. And I didn't end up buying anything. But that's because a lot of people there were not only acutely aware of how restrictive what I, could actually reasonably buy, but they were also scared to even admit that they were even able to sell me anything for fear of the ATF coming after them for selling me something. So this and that, Maryland gun laws. Do you want me to really, really go into it?
What was the main thing that you couldn't
sure, we
do?
got time.
So I won't even I'll get into handguns at a later point. But so when it comes to rifles, you in Maryland, what's actually illegal is to have any magazine over 10 round capacity that you purchase within the state. You can purchase them in any other state, and legally possess them and use them and all that within Maryland. You just can't buy them or sell them in Maryland. Whatever. That's that's fair. Whatever. But at any rate, the what was it? Oh, you can't have anything on the end of it to attach flash suppressor or anything like that. In certain actually
folding
not even
stocks,
really certain,
I think, and bayonet lugs, grenade launchers.
The things that go up.
Yeah, any sort of attachments like that out. Anything that is a copycat of a expressly banned firearm is out. And that being said, Maryland, shortly after the Newtown shooting, expressly banned pretty much anything that looks scary in a gun catalog.
Or ARs.
Most ARs are banned. Or in the ones that aren't banned, coincidentally, are very expensive typically, or are very, very basic in function, and wouldn't be necessarily ideal for a home defense scenario, which is exactly what I'm looking for. So, yeah, it was neat. Again, it was a little disappointing that some of the people ended up being at the gun show itself ended up being overly concerned or overly paranoid, but yeah, it was what it was. And it was neat that I got to meet actually some people who were decently cool. And it was the first gun show I've ever actually been to, so it was neat just to kind of see how those things typically are in tone and mood and all that. So it's a good learning experience.
Did you play gun show bingo?
No, I didn't.
Oh man, that's my favorite game. Some of the classic spaces are the sound of tasers in the distance, beef jerky stand, Nazi shit, old conspiracy nuts trying to sell their shit. Old grumpy dudes who just want to show off their collection but not talk to you about it or sell it or anything.
Right.
People you try to go over to buy some clips. All they have is magazines. I actually wanted to go get some clips for my Mosin Nagant at a gun show one time, and I saw a sign that said clips. I'm like, oh sweet, they got clips. I walk over, nothing but magazines. I'm like, fuck you, lying sons of bitches. How dare you? I wanted clips.
Have you considered getting a shotgun for home defense? Just fire off 2 blasts, Joe Biden style.
I joked about that with people at the gun show. And to be fair, shotguns have their spot. I'm just not a big fan. If I miss, I gotta pump and get back right to it.
You gotta get a DP12, fam.
I mean, I don't really want to fire off a 12 gauge in a townhouse.
Well, better than AR because over penetration.
No, actually, 5.56 is a lot better for not over penetrating than like a buckshot.
Really?
I mean, certain loads for shotguns won't over penetrate that much. But you have to walk a fine line between, ineffective bird shot and buckshot. Like double-aught buck will just fuck shit up.
Really, I thought buckshot would penetrate less than a actual like rifle cartridge. Like,
well, 5.56 specifically because it's a very light cartridge and it's small caliber, not a lot of momentum. Right? It won't. I mean, one of the complaints about the M16 and AR-15 is that the ammunition doesn't really have like a barrier penetrating effect. Like you can't shoot through a concrete wall at people. But I mean, for a home defense application, that's great because then you're not killing your neighbors.
I never thought. I always thought the shotgun was the best.
Shotguns are great, but low capacity, harder to operate. More recoil, slower follow-up shots. ARs are probably the best home defense GAT around.
Aside from like MP5s, UMPs, stuff like that would actually be fun and good.
Actually, I think MP5s,
Not class 3.
MP5s and UMPs 9mm over penetrates a lot. I think like a FNP 90 with that 5.7 round because the 5.7 rounds, again, light and small caliber and doesn't over penetrate a fuck ton. Get that shit with the suppressor? Ooh, now you're in business.
That'd be like the remember that story that you linked about the guy who had it was some kind of full auto weapon and a guy charged at him with a knife?
Oh yes, I would love to tell this story. So this was back in I think the 80s or something. Yeah, the 80s. And so there's this guy and he's traveling around I think somewhere in the Northeast. With his wife, just kind of looks like a yuppie, and he's driving along, minding his own business. Some biker fucks with him a little bit and then fucks off, and then these people in a truck behind them start chasing him, and acting real aggressive, being pieces of shit. And it's the 80s, so he doesn't have a cell phone. He can't call his cop and keep moving. He has to either, find a cop IRL or get the fuck out of Dodge. So he's getting the fuck out of Dodge. The people tailing him are getting increasingly pissed off, and I think that they brandish a gun at some point. And he comes up with the plan to go to the plant that he works at. He gets to the plant that he works at, gets through the security, it's got like an automated key, right? He gets in, and it turns out he works at Heckler & Koch, and he had in his truck a Ruger AC556, which is a select fire version of the popular Ruger Mini. It's like a 556 carbine. It looks like a scaled down M14 basically.
Sounds badass.
So he's got a 5.56 machine gun in his truck and a couple of handguns for his daily carry. But so he's got a machine gun, right? He gets to the plant. He's going inside. He lets his wife, run inside the plant ahead of him, and he wasn't that familiar with the gun, so he didn't know how the fire select worked because it was a new product and not his product. So he fires off a warning shot, which actually was like a 6-round burst of warning
Because the
shots.
guys came up to him with a knife, right? He started to walk
Yeah,
up to
yeah,
him.
yeah. The guys started walking up to him. Like they got out of the truck and started walking up to him. He told them to stop and back off, and they didn't. So he fired a warning shot, like a warning burst, and then they. The guy said, I believe his exact words were "fuck you and your high-powered rifle," and charged him with a knife. And then the guy just gunned him down with a machine gun.
Jesus.
It was fucking great.
That's some like advanced
And,
levels of retardation to not stop when like you hear a 6-round burst go off beside your ear. Like,
yeah, the autopsy confirmed he had a blood alcohol content of 0.19%. So, yeah, chemically induced retardation. And the guy actually almost got in some pretty serious shit over that. The prosecutor tried to argue that he using a machine gun was too much. And that, well, it would have been okay if he used some kind of double-barrel shotgun. And then eventually the case got thrown out. It's like, fuck you. The weapon you use to defend yourself does not determine the legality of defending yourself.
that's insane.
Yeah, actually. Oh, yeah. There's another case in Florida, in, I believe it was Gainesville. Yeah. Which is, for people who don't know, that's where the University of Florida is. So it's a college town. It's got college students and rednecks, and it's not great. And so there's this guy, he had a gun store there. And he's going to sleep one night, and when he hears like a crash, and what had happened was, I think 3 people crashed a van into his gun shop. So he grabs, I think it was like 5 or 6 guns, including a machine gun, like some kind of I guess like just a basic bitch Smith and Wesson like machine gun. And he just lays down suppressing fire on these guys. He doesn't try and kill them. He just shoots he fired over like 200 rounds or something at them. And like I think one of them died, and then the rest like got caught later.
Amazing. What year was this? Like generally.
This was let me look that up real quick. You want to talk about Varsilica while I look that up?
Oh, the Finnish milsurp store.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was really cool. You linked it to me this morning, and I looked through it, and for like Euro prices, it was really reasonable. Like they had morale patches that were pretty good. They had like a nice Deus Vault one that I really liked, and they were like €3 or something, and then like $13 shipping to Canada. Like it was really good. They had like a bunch of nice clothing with Finnish camo, which is one of my favorites actually, next to Rhodesian. And yeah, just like generally some pretty decent milsurp for a relatively good price. What else did they have? Oh yeah, there was the was it fish? Or they sold something that was called like ham cock. It was just like a tin of ham, but it was called ham cock. So I don't know what part of the ham it's made out of, but
Oh, so I watched the in-range video on the fish cock today, and it was basically like imagine if you will an Oreo, but instead of cookies and cream, it's rye bread and smoked salmon.
That actually sounds really good.
Yeah, they said it was quite good. Like it was a little bit dry because canned, but if you made it fresh, it would be pretty tasty. And so I believe the ham cock is basically just like smoked ham and rye bread. It might have been a mistranslation, but these guys also have a pretty decent sense of humor. Like they got some like Russian milsurp boots, like World War One era or something. They're like, these are the shittiest boots we've ever seen. We're still gonna sell them to you, but just know they're Russian boots and they're old AF, so don't expect quality. Alright, yeah. So I found this. I found the story about the guy with the machine gun defending his gun store. So the guns he grabs a Charter Arms Bulldog revolver with 44 special ammunition, a Model 76 submachine gun with one magazine, bolt closed because it was a open bolt machine gun, no round in the chamber. More magazines rubber banded to the end of the stock. An AR-15 with a magazine loaded to 15 rounds because apparently that was back in the day when AR mags were kind of shitty. Remington Model 1100 12 gauge semi-automatic shotgun. And yeah, so that was his home defense loadout. He fired, I think, in total. Let's see here. I think it was 105 rounds of ammunition that night. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep. I'll see. Oh yeah, shit. It was a lot more than 3. Yeah, I think there were 6 that got captured. I don't know. Yeah, 6 captured. 1 dead because he tried to ram the guy with the truck, and the guy unloaded the AR-15 into the truck and dude.
Like,
let's see
they were
here.
purposely crashing into a store, right? It wasn't just like an accident.
Yeah, no, it was like a smash and grab type thing. Let's see here. Yeah, most of his shooting was like warning shots, just sort of spraying full auto in their general direction to get them to fuck off, which is a pretty efficient method of fuck off.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Do. I'll just cut up the dead air, so don't worry about filling it. Yeah, he got out of it okay. But they sort of said, "Hey, like semi-auto, yes; full auto, no," for future notice.
Could have been
This
worse.
was in I think this was in 1990, maybe. Yeah, November 12th, 1990. 4 years before the federal assault weapons ban went into effect.
Yeah, you could have got worse, I guess. I wrote down another good topic that I'll do another time is Canadian home defense, because oh boy, is that some retarded shit.
Ooh, that would be a good one. We're
Stun guns and whatnot are really regulated in Maryland, apparently. I found out as well as I was looking at less than lethal alternatives to buying a gun.
That's because the LGBT lobby, you know.
Yeah,
They didn't want Mike Pence coming in.
exactly.
Yeah, and for the people involved in the 2 shootings that I just talked about, the gun owner who carries probably too many guns, his name is Harry Beckwith, and the HK employee is Gary Faden.
Gary Breakfast. We want to wrap up here in the shorter term.
Yeah, I mean we're at about an hour now, so if anyone has any last closing topics they'd like to go over,
Remain free, or at least try your best.
But leave.
That was good.
Alright, yeah, good shit. I'll edit this and episode 3 because I still haven't done that. I had a crazy week, so yeah.
Episode 3.